All right, we are recording.
I think it's recording. Thanks, Mom. All right. Okay, quick introduction to this session. This is government opportunities to leverage citizen engagement with representatives from Provo City, from Orem City, and Lehi City. This is focusing on the ways that we can involve those dedicated citizens in the cities in Utah County especially that would like to participate. They want an outlet for all their sustainability nerdery, like some of us right here. And cities can provide a platform for those citizens, and those citizens can then provide an extension of services and engagement for the city's goals. So we will go ahead and start with Provo down at the end. Dawn's going to start. And just a reminder to all of us panelists, we have about 10 minutes per city, and then we will turn it over to for some Q&A. And we've just got these two microphones, so we'll do some sharing. Dawn, I will go ahead, I don't think I got my clicker started, but I'll go ahead and do the slides for you. I don't know
what slides up there?
Yes, so.
This is very interesting. I can't see them, so I brought my laptop.
All right, I'll look at your laptop, and when you move, I'll move.
Okay, that sounds good. Is this thing on? Tic-tac. All right, thanks. Okay, the question is, how did Provo go green? Now, Provo doesn't want to be known anymore as a conservative city, but now they've discovered that conservatives can be in favor of conservation. Now we're trying to be known as moderates. So anyway, the question is, it's not a very big city. Our average income in Provo is about half that of Boulder, Colorado. Half of the Provo city real estate cannot be taxed. So we've got challenges. So the question is it worth you listening to what we're going to talk about? Here's some things that this is the so what. Usually you want the so what a little later. Provo somehow has got Utah's cleanest electricity. We're about 48% renewable, as you see here. We have a goal of 60% renewable by 2030 and 100% by 2050. It has Utah's only all-electric, net zero, pollution-free city hall. And it has a LEED silver public power building. It has free and frequent bus rapid transit between BYU and UVU, basically, and between the malls in both cities. I mean, it's great. And a lot of people have to take credit for this. No one person did any of it, but everybody pitched in. We're among Utah's most generous rebates for yard tools and heat pumps. And if you'll check the Salt Lake Tribune today, you'll see my mug there and a nice article by Tim Fitzgerald on why you should have a heat pump too. And we can offer cheaper electricity for EV owners if they'll sign up, and we'll use electricity between midnight and 8 a.m. It's a lot cheaper. We have a goal of 100,000 trees in 2 years, and we're going to way exceed that because we put in 600 trees every year anyway. And Hannah then puts together opportunities where the citizens and the Provo police pitch in and dig more trees, holes for trees. And we have a total of 44 EV charging stations. That's not huge, but sure a whole lot more than we used to have. So let's go to the next slide. What are the factors in Provo's success? How can you do it in your city? Your officials have to be in favor. If your mayor's not in favor, you have a big problem. We have a mayor that's in favor. This is the second mayor. I started 12 years ago with John Curtis, and now we have Mayor Kafusi, and they're both really serious about sustainability. We have a city council. We got 3 votes on the city council we can count on every time. And so just one or two things. And then we have employees like Hannah, who we'll talk to in just a minute. She's our sustainability coordinator. No, she's not the director because she doesn't crack her whip and say, you gotta do this. She knows that there are good people doing good things, and she coordinates the effort. And I suggest that if you have somebody that's gonna be a Provo or a city employee, they ought to be considered a coordinator. So you've got to be a lot more like Yenta the matchmaker than Attila the Hun. Okay, so we have a good crew of citizen volunteers. I'm the chair of the city's sustainability committee, the citizen sustainability committee, and then we also have a municipal power company. We're not going to talk about that because you can't change what you got, but we have a huge advantage in having a municipally owned power company. We can do all kinds of things that Rocky Mountain Power can't do. But not going to talk about that. You can just be jealous. And every struggle needs champions. It's one thing to make a plan up, and then it sits on the shelf and gathers dust unless you have some champions. We have the city sustainability chair here. That's me, and here's Hannah, the city sustainability coordinator. You got to have somebody who really cares about this stuff. And they got to be a little compulsive. Now, we both have other responsibilities. Hannah is not just doing city sustainability. They claim she's only supposed to be doing about 25% to 30% of her time with sustainability. But she sneaks in more because she's a city planner, and everything she does in planning has to do with sustainability. You've got to have people like that who really want to do it. We have 3 sustainability committees. You don't have to have 3. Lehi has one, and it's terrific. We have the Mayor's Sustainability Committee that coordinates at the highest level. So we don't do something truly stupid without the mayor knowing about it. When we do, she tells us about it. And then we have the Citizen Sustainability Committee, which does outreach. My wife is on the Sustainability Committee. She visits every single school in Provo City School District and teaches the kids how to make the air cleaner. She's amazing, does a lot of work. And then we have the Employee Sustainability Committee, which I won't tell you anything about because Hannah is going to do that. They're hands-on. They have their hands on the levers of power. They can really make stuff happen, and they have ideas. They can share ideas. This was an idea that Salt Lake City had. They just got together informally for brown bags, whenever they felt like it. And I told Mayor Curtis about it. He says, we cannot have that. So now our Sustainability Committee, Employee Sustainability Committee, is more official. It meets every month, and there's supposed to be somebody from every department. Don't always come, but they're supposed to be. Okay, here's the 3 sustainability committees, what they do. The Mayor's Sustainability Committee does coordination. I lead that, set up the agenda, make up the minutes. The mayor or the deputy mayor attends. It's usually the deputy mayor because the mayor's often busy. We have a city council member who's really committed to sustainability. That started because it used to be I met with Mayor Curtis every month, and I'd say, well, Mayor Curtis, you got to do X, Y, and Z. He said, well, I got to get the city council to approve that. I said, well, we'll tell them what to do. He said, I can't tell them to do anything. They tell me to go jump. So I said, well, how about we get somebody to meet with us every month? And we did, and it worked. And then we have a sustainability coordinator, Hannah attends that, and then we have the economic development director who's recently been appointed, and he's often had his hair on fire. You can't do that, but anyway, we're trying to bring him around so we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can do economic and environmental sustainability. Okay, and then there's the Citizen Sustainability Committee, mostly outreach.
Just a
Okay.
little timer right now.
5 minutes is up.
And it's over.
Do you want to wrap up? Is there anything more?
That's it.
Okay. Well, we'll switch to mine more from an internal perspective. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to track what slide I'm on this way. Is it cool if I stand here?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. So I'll just get started with an introduction while she pulls up the slides. I'm Hannah Salzl. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for Provo City. I'm also a long-range planner. There's a lot of overlap as I'm working on sustainability plans, our general plans, plans for our hillsides and canyons or the lakeshore. The sustainability touches a lot, right? It's a broad category. Would you skip ahead? Right. Our focus is on maintaining quality of life. Same for every business, resident, government, hopefully. We're all employed in this together. Next slide. Just going to linger on this. Most people in this conference have probably seen this before. This is the triple bottom line of sustainability. It sometimes goes by different names. cute little acronyms. Sometimes people try to add others. Provo didn't come up with this. This has been part of sustainability for decades. But environmental is just part of that. Your environment can be great, but if your people and your economy are suffering, your community as a whole is not healthy, right? So from a sustainability coordinator perspective, I have to represent more than just the environment. I have to consider our social well-being as well as the financial health of our communities, which is exactly like Don was saying, more of a networking position, right? This is a really good way of showing Provo's philosophy. This is a quote from our mayor recently, but it also shows her understanding of how interconnected this is, right? The more we can serve, the more we can save. These financial, social, environmental health within our community, inextricably linked. And our residents agree. We recently did a random sample, huge survey, got 1,000 responses for our general plan. When asked what was most important for quality of life, tied for third, becoming a more environmentally sustainable city. This is the foundation of Provo's engagement with the public. We assume, and now we know from this survey, we have it confirmed, our residents care. It often feels like we're trying to give information to residents or customers or whoever we're working with, not knowing what's going to happen with it. It's a shout in the void. We have to publish these notices by state law, whatever. Sustainability is not like that. They care. Assume your residents are engaged. They just don't have the tools. And we sometimes make it harder with the way that government is structured a little bit. These 7 categories approximately represent where Provo's working, and they are going to break down by department, right? Of course, transportation is going to go with more with public works. Water is going to go more with public works. We have our own energy company, so they handle that, our own energy department, which can be a really great way for people to engage with the city. For a resident's perspective, if they're really engaged in trails, for example, Parks and Rec, if they're engaged with water, public works. Easy one-to-one connection there. But this division, cute as this graphic is, much time as I spent making this graphic, it's kind of artificially divided. All of this is interconnected. We understand how street trees also reduce the energy needed to cool homes, which reduces emissions, which improves our air quality, which makes our trails better. Like, all of this is interconnected. You understand that. We don't always treat it like that as a city, which can make it really difficult for residents who want to engage with this networked whole to do so, because that's not how we're engaging with it. So having one person, like a sustainability coordinator, who can liaise between these points, between these departments, can be a great way to interface with the public and help break down the system for them a little bit. So you're treating it less like individual silos and more like a networked experience within your city.
You almost have to have somebody who's a city employee. There's only so much that volunteers can do.
Please don't expect your volunteers to coordinate with water engineers and your budgeting, and it's too much. Yeah. Someone from the inside is ideal, or you can have a network, ideally both, like we have with the Sustainability Committee on the employee side, where we get together regularly to discuss. I'm not a water engineer, but I have a regular contact who is, who can help explain this policy, and we can stay in touch, right? Here are some of the other points of outreach, just getting beyond our philosophy to what we actually do to put that in the ground. We have a monthly newsletter for 2023. It's the Preserving Provo campaign. You can go to preservingprovo.com, sign up for the email if you want to see what the newsletters are. Each month has a different theme. This week is open space and active citizens. That's coming out. We also have recycling and composting. Next week's going to be water. That'll be a big one. Our library has sustainability classes. Every few months they also have sustainability challenges, reading lists, engagement, which is a great way to connect with all ages. They're tailored to different groups. We have a sustainability website with a list of resources that we're constantly revamping and updating. We also have annual public power celebrations, Earth Day service projects. Provo has the big Freedom Festival every 4th of July. We have a booth there. We also have the Clean Air Toolkit website, Citizen Sustainability Committee. We have a Green Business Award, and you will notice that none of these are one-time ways of engaging. They repeat monthly, they repeat annually. We make sure that we are as accessible as we can be for people, because your residents care a lot, circling back to that. But they have real barriers and challenges to getting involved. They might not have a lot of time, they might not have a lot of expert knowledge. They might really want to get involved in water conservation, but they're not water engineers. They don't know how to read those reports. They might also have technological time barriers, you understand the needs of your group, but really make sure you understand what those barriers are. And then it's on us as organizations to overcome those barriers. We have to approach our residents in the way that they need to be approached, give them the information in the way that they need to receive it, if we expect them to engage with us, to take that passion and network with us in a way that we can use. In Provo, we have a philosophy where we educate, not mandate. Our goal is to help create engaged, informed, empowered citizens that are partners with us in maintaining their quality of life, because it's something that we're both working on together. We talked a little bit about building external bridges for your residents. You need to build internal bridges between your departments, but there are also external partners that will help. And better yet, most of these already have networks within your residences. You don't have to start from scratch. These guys have networks, they have regular meetings, they're already engaged with your citizens, they already know what they want, and they have ways of communicating. So partner up with them. Ride their bandwagon for a little bit. If you're looking at just getting started, this is a great place. If you go to the next slide, there's a short list. And I don't know if these slides will these slides be available?
Okay, sure.
Awesome, yes, so feel free to just download the list from there. These are the ones that I engage with most often. Most of them have monthly newsletters or meetings, websites. It's really easy to just get on their email list. The next slide is just my contact information. Oh, okay. That's great. Go back to this, yeah. If you have any questions, also feel free to contact me. Sustainability coordinators, like Don said, we can be a little bit compulsive about this. This is our passion. We're in this for a reason. If you ever want to talk, I'm available.
There we go. Thank you, Provo. Orem is sitting in between both Provo and Lehi, and they each have a sustainability employee, and Orem does not. So we've got a little bit of jealousy going on, but that's okay. We can attest to what Hannah was speaking to, and Don, the benefit of having a dedicated employee that can help with, let's see, vamping, it's fine. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
We're doing good? No karaoke later. Okay. So you heard about one example of how a citizen committee and how it can partner with an employee level. Orem has another model of how it's arrived at a citizen committee. And since I'm not sitting down, I'll come around the front. So several years ago, I reached out to the city of Orem, and I said, hey, I'm really interested. I have this, this quirky passion of mine, and I'd love to get involved with the city. So I proposed a kind of citizen sustainability themed committee, and spoke with the mayor at first. We had a chat. He wanted to understand a little bit more about the vision that I had in mind, and making sure that it was a good fit for this particular audience. And it was approved to go through the process and go through legal. We presented to the planning commission, and then we went to the city council, and the city council approved it. And now we are the Natural Resources Stewardship Committee. And it was added to the Orem City Code that I've included at the bottom there. Just a little bit about how we are set up. We have 5 citizen volunteers, and it's an online application, and they have interviews with either a city staffer or a city council member, and then they get approved by the city council. Then there is one city council member who is assigned to that committee, one staff liaison. We are housed under the planning division, and then one staff minutes recorder. We meet monthly for about an hour. though we have outside assignments for each of us that we might periodically have additional time commitments. Our budget is modest. But that said, we do have opportunities to coordinate again with these, as Hannah was talking about, really we say there are boundaries, but there's a lot of overlap. And so when we find opportunities to engage with other departments and support some of those efforts that might overlap on their mission, then we can kind of piggyback on some other budget opportunities. How we have it set up is each community or each volunteer is assigned one or two depending on, and you can modify it for whoever's on your committee at the time, whatever their strengths are. So current specialties, we have agricultural preservation, energy and air quality, land use, Utah Lake, waste and water. And then we also each have a role. Whether we're focusing on awards, we do awards usually in the springtime, or events, relations, social media, and then ad hoc committees as necessary. So for example, I'm on this committee and my specialty is waste and my role is relations. So, but again, that can be modified based on whoever's on your committee at the time and play to their strengths. So some of the things that we've worked on, again, water issues, the awards I was talking about, land use opportunities, ways to give some recommendations regarding ordinances, and then of course partners, as we talked about with Provo, the value that those partnerships have. This I just threw in here, a little self-indulgent. These are some examples of some of our social media that we've put on the city's Facebook page. These are, it's got my kids in there and pictures of nature, and that just makes me happy, so you're welcome. But back in 2020, we also did a campaign called Orem Outside. Obviously during the pandemic, that was something that we all needed some kind of therapy, and the outdoors, as we all discovered, was an opportunity for us to find healing in the outdoors and safe places to gather. So to meet the needs for our connection to the land and our needs for our connection with each other in a safe way. So we invited residents to submit their stories about how they're celebrating the outdoors and surviving 2020. And with that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Quinn Mecham, who will have some deeper reflections about our experience.
Thanks, Sarah. My name is Quinn Mecham. I'm currently the chair of our Natural Resources Stewardship Committee. This is my second term on the committee, so I'm just starting my 5th year. And it has been a really meaningful part of my citizen engagement. As Sarah mentioned, Orem is a different case. So Orem and Provo, in many ways, are similar types of cities. But as I was listening to Dawn and to Hannah, I recognized that we are perhaps where you were a number of years ago. So many of the grassroots initiatives that took place in Provo a number of years ago that have since flowered and developed into much of the success that Provo has seen, I think we have not yet seen. But the trajectory has been really quite remarkable. And I guess one message I would have is that there is so much opportunity. There is just so much that can be done. And every time I meet with our marvelously talented citizen committee, I just reflect on the potential power if more and more citizens were engaged in thinking about these issues. I'm just going to share a few thoughts over the last 5 years of some of the things that we've struggled with, some of the things that I think we have turned into some real successes, and some contemporary challenges that we're trying to solve right We spent a little bit of time at the beginning really trying to hone our mission, trying to understand what a citizen committee can and should do. And our mission has essentially evolved into 3 key things that we do. So we are an educational committee. That means that we spend a lot of time trying to educate on sustainability issues, the citizens and organizations within Orem. We are an advisory committee. We spend time making recommendations to the city council and to our planning staff and to others. And we play a celebratory role. That means that when we see great things happening, we highlight it and we get excited about it and we publicize it so that we can hold up role models of great behavior both among citizens and among businesses. And all of those things have evolved over time. Some of the successes that I'm excited to celebrate with you are that we have remarkable talent on our citizen committee. We have been able to find people that really are passionate, have a remarkable skill set, and work extremely well together. And over time, I've seen improvements in the way that we interact with our city councilors and with our mayor. So we have a different set of politics in Orem than in Provo. And one of the implications of that is that sustainability has not been a high priority in Orem city government. We have had some city councilors that have really championed our efforts. Sam Lentz, former city councilor, was one of our early champions. Debbie LeRae is currently assigned as a city councilor to our committee and attends regularly and supports our efforts, and we're really, really grateful for that. We also have a long-range planner that has been a great asset to us as we have worked to build bridges with the city. And so I think that we have had success in building trust over time. Part of that is that we are a reasonable committee. We think about pragmatic choices in ways that I think people can relate to. We have strong values in terms of what we hope we can be, but we also work to be pretty pragmatic. We've had some real successes lately in terms of our advisory role. And I think that's only resulted over time because of the relationships we've been able to build in the city. When the city needed to build a new water tank and build a park there, they consulted with us as to what that park should look like. When the city decided to build a new civic center and they needed to make some choices about construction and landscaping, they came to us. We had a chance to provide some advisory services on that issue. We've been advisory on agricultural land preservation. We've been advisory on Utah Lake policy. We've been advisory on xeriscaping policies. And I think that those things have made a positive difference over time. We also started a number of years ago to extend awards, annual awards, to individuals and to businesses and organizations. Everyone who receives an award is thrilled. They meet with the city council and the mayor. They get publicity out of it, and I think it provides a really nice role modeling for the things that we as a city are willing to celebrate. We've also taken a stab at some events, Earth Day events. This year we are planning some biking events and some hiking events and some events at booths and other things at our Orem city community events. And we've had, as Sarah has shown, some good success in communications. Some challenges: we have low power, we have a very low budget, we do not have very effective integration with public works, although that's something that we've been working on. We've been engaged in, particularly with our water experts in public works, and have developed a nice relationship with them. And of course, a committee that meets once a month for 1 hour as citizens is going to have limited capacity. And so one of the things we're looking forward to working on in the future is figuring out how to scale and ramp up citizen engagement. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we have so much opportunity. And if you are an Orem resident, please come talk to us, because we would love to bring you in and take advantage of your interest in energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn. I will just point out, Paul, raise your hand. Another one representing also on our committee. When he was talking about the awesome people of our committee, I know it's self-serving here, but thank you. Okay, Todd, I'm going to hand this over to you while I hook your computer up.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today with you, and I'm humbled, obviously, to listen to these big shots to my right here. Provo and Orem are doing fantastic things. And, you know, as you look at sustainable issues, it's a huge, huge mountain of information. You know, it's daunting. You know, I mean, just to think about on a global scale what we have to deal with. And so there's policy, and there are so many ways to address these things. We got Jim here with the Utah Valley Earth Forum. I mean, you know, the bottom level. And then we have the World, Earth Day or climate control, this, that, or the other. Well, how do you make sense of that, especially at the level of a citizen? You know, and so when the mayor and the council in Lehi, Mark Johnson, in 2019 realized that there were issues, sustainability issues, and that it was an emerging need. And so because of that, he came to me and, he and the council said, we need to do something. We got to get somebody in a position that they can represent Lehi City to do something and to make sense of all of this, all of these situations that we have going on. Excuse me. And so in 2019, we developed a model in our city, the Environmental Sustainability Committee. You can see a number of our committee members who are our billboards for that committee. And it's awesome because, I mean, any way we can get out there, we've got to get out there. And honestly, I mean, these beautiful PowerPoint presentations that have been shown to you are awesome. And, that's how we plagiarize. We go to these places and we grab from their toolboxes and we implement them into our, their city, our committees. And so how we're structured is we have a 15-member committee. Just one committee, the Environmental Sustainability Committee, and it's made up of 5 volunteer, awesome citizens, and 5 internal city green team, members from all public works, the power department, the big shots, and then we have 5 members of our business community. And we get together once a month and we discuss everything we can discuss. Now it's my job to really anchor all this. I'm a full-time position. And I need to go out there and I need to network with these big shots, UCARE and RCU, the Recyclers Coalitions, and we participate with the Utah Valley Clean Air Task Force, the Utah Valley Sustainability Committee. Anything that we can do, I try to get there and get that information, capture that information. So from a city perspective, it really doesn't matter how big you are. It matters if you want to go out there and get this information. Then you take that information that's out there, it's everywhere, and you try to make sense of it, and you try to get it out at the grassroots level. And so that's what we do. And we figure that if we can get a citizen committee, and we can get an internal city committee, and a business committee, then we can communicate. And when we communicate, then we make things happen. And when you make things happen, everybody enjoys that, opportunity to have a better lifestyle. And we all know that the 3 pillars of any civilization are economic, social, and environmental. And it seems like that environmental leg is always getting beat up and just can't, support that, economic and social aspect of civilization, of our quality of life. And so, at this level, we have just a few slides, but we're doing a ton of things in Lehi City. We're really trying hard, from our inception in 2019 to where we are now. We've just got, awesome members of our committee, and we're really reaching out. We're at infant stage, and what we're trying to do is get out there and get the whole community going. We need to, every one of us, every community member, we got the mayor from Linden here, we've got, American Fork, we got Lehi, or we got Highland, Alpine, I mean, Spanish Fork, so many opportunities to get these committees going like Provo and Orem have done, and, you know, and make a difference. And so that's our goal, and you know, it doesn't have to be this fancy, you know, all this, you know, high-level stuff. We need to get down and just do it. We need to get our hands in the ground and plant a tree. We need to, you know, do these things that will make a difference, and we can feel good about our stewardship. And so I know this is a pump-up talk more than anything from Lehi, you know, and it's what we need. We need somebody to get out there and coach and say, hey, you can do it, and this is how we do it, and let's do it. And then when we make mistakes or don't do enough, we say, well, let's you know, get together, let's huddle up, and let's figure out what we need to do again. And you just keep doing this and doing it over and over and over. And you base your guideline on what your toolbox is. You go from that. We have air quality, recycling, we have water conservation, water quality, we have energy, renewables and whatnot, and then active transportation, creating connectivity for our bike paths, trying to enable people safe bike routes so that we can reduce the cars that are, you know, in our community. Working on with community development to develop more TODs, you know, transit-oriented developments that will kind of make people not have to use their car so much. And so, I mean, those are small things, but they're big things when we get together collectively and do that. So I want to introduce our chair of our committee, the awesome Susan Wilson, who has done so much to help us out. She's been with us since 2019. And she's going to talk a little bit about what we're doing. What we're doing in Lehi City, Little Lehi City, and what you can do in your community or your organizations to really make a difference, to connect, to get to know each other. Dawn, he's just fantastic to work with. Sarah, I mean, all of these individuals make a difference. We can make a difference. So with that,
I'm not so sure that Lehi's a little city anymore. We've been here for a while and felt the growth. So that first slide, this is probably what we're most proud of. We found out that as a community, we were not doing a very good job recycling. And our committee had an opportunity to take a field trip. We've done several, which is very great for the committee to learn, so then we can turn around and teach the citizens about what we're learning and what is clean recyclable materials. So we did this through social media, but I think our biggest impact is our community events. So we have our rodeo days, we have a Halloween carnival that we always have a booth on, and also a health fair. And so we are present there and we're sharing information, and the way we get them to our booth is we give them things. Last year we focused on water conservation, and we gave them a little timer that I meant to bring that's in my shower, a little timer, and people were just coming and they're like, I want one. So I think it's important that to get them to be curious about what we're doing. We also learned that we need to be careful how we approach them. Sometimes they feel like we want to sell them something, or we need to be very inviting. So I think our events are a great place because they come to us, we're not going to them. So that's one of the great things. Go on to the next slide. Is that our all right, is that?
Which side? It's on Jarvis.
Oh, okay. All right. That's okay. Why don't you tell them about the barrels? Yes.
on the rain harvest.
And just let you know about
Butterflies.
Okay, we're butterflies. Let me try to get this here. Are we in
Main harvest, we need time for Q&A.
okay. Where am I at now? Am I at?
It's okay.
My experience.
We did raise barrels, meaning that the city subsidized a certain amount of money, and we gave out 100.
Last year we
Last
did
year.
100 rebates, and this year we did 200. And they sold out in 2 days.
So people are excited about that, using that water. I mean, I know this year's a little different, but the years past, it's been great to have.
Does anybody have a rain barrel?
Okay,
You see, is there a benefit to that?
Yeah, my house plants really like it.
yeah.
There you go. So most people don't know, they think it's illegal still to harvest rain.
And the Utah legislature passed a bill in 2010 that enabled us to be able to capture rainwater 2,500 acres.
So the butterfly slide, I don't know if it's up there now, but we actually planted, it's okay, we're moving on. We actually planted milkweed and other, we went to Willow Park and cleaned out an area, got our grandkids over there cleaning out the area, and we planted for the butterflies to be able to come. And so we're working with the city on some of these things. We've had challenges where we plant things and sometimes they think they're weeds and they pull them out. But we just keep trying and we just keep educating. Vanessa shared the e-recycling, so I'm not going to go into that, but that was huge. And people are coming to me and saying, are we doing that again? You are right. People want to make a difference, but we need to make it in small pieces where they can chew. We can't feed a baby a steak, and so I think it's important that as a city that we just educate them, and we're trying to find out what they do know and what they don't know right now with the survey, and I think that's important too, so we know how to target our citizens and know what to share with them.
Well, and just a couple of grant for Q&A.
Am I?
Yeah, you want to kick it off?
I know John took up all the time, so sorry about that. No, I just wanted to say that we can make a difference, and I've said that, I pushed that hard, but you know, we've done a lot of projects. I did a presentation to our city council to let them know what we did last year, and I think I had 18 slides. And so that was just a tip of, from that we could go into it, and I don't want to bore you with all that, but it's just illustrative of what is going on out there and how we can get connected. And so that's it. Okay.
Thank you. Now, why don't you hold on to that, and I'll come out to the audience. If anybody has, we have time for like 1 or 2 quick questions. Ingrid.
Okay, I'm James Westwater, Chair of the Utah Valley Earth Forum. We do an annual survey. We're in our 10th year of surveying all Utah Valley cities, communities, towns, and so we're quite aware, and you can find out what Utah Valley cities and towns are doing to help the environment. You go to survey.uvu.edu, and you can go into the room next door and see what the survey is too. And so we're well aware that these 3 communities are very outstanding in what they are doing to help the environment. And we were especially impressed with Lehi's City Environmental Sustainability Committee, and we are awarding them our Earth Stewardship Award for this year. Congratulations to you. The other cities are also very deserving too, but we were so impressed with what Lehi City has done. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work, and all of you, Provo, Orem, and everyone else. We all want to try to move our cities and towns forward in sustainability. Thank you.
Did you get a picture of that?
Okay.
We'll snag that from you. Okay, any other questions? Sam.
So, I have a question on recycling, and it relates to Operation National Sword, which a lot of you have probably heard of, but basically the legislation in China a few years ago where they were going to stop accepting recycling from, the Americas, from Europe, and I noticed this affecting our supply chain at Dell as well, where if we were trying to get packaging or e-waste back to the factories, if it's manufactured in China, you have to come up with very capital-intensive processes to figure out how are we going to repurpose this. So, at a community level, how has that impacted our kind of recycling chain there with? If we don't have a place to send, cardboard, for example, what ends up happening to that? And is that improving? Has COVID affected that?
We're dealing with that a lot in Provo, so I'll just answer quickly and then feel free to jump in. As cities, we often contract out our recycling services, so we're not in charge of finding those buyers, but we understand that it is increasingly a less lucrative market, so we're doing what we can on our end to reduce contamination rates and alter our residents' behavior to make sure that we're reducing costs in the areas where we can act.
just a plug for identifying ways that you can reduce in the first place, modifying your behavior, your practices, so that you don't have so much to decide, does this go to waste, does it go to recycling, will it be recycled? If you can be proactive in the first place in your procurement practices and your habits, then that's another way, again, reduces the first.
Yeah, and like Sarah said, it's information, it's understanding. What we have is, I think a big part of it is accountability. Is this one? Yeah, okay. It's accountability. We in Lehi, we have a contract with our provider. It's called a blended rate recycling contract. And what it is it enables the citizens to participate in cleaning up their single stream recyclables so that when they go, they're more profitable for the vendor that's accepting the recyclables, and they can then identify how they recycle. But we as citizens can understand what it is. And so how we facilitate this is through auditing. Auditing is a huge component of recycling because it really helps us understand what's going into the recycling and what we're doing with it. And so their technology, which we're working on right now, and I think Orem is doing the same thing, is that they have a program called Smart Truck. And so these recycle trucks come and they pick up the bins, and they document everything that dumps in every one of those bins. And so essentially it's an audit, an ongoing, every time they tip audit. And from that, then there's a panel with the provider who they go through those reports, and they can see where the contamination is. And then from that, then we can go out through our email process because we know the billing addresses and whatnot. And they can address the issues and let the citizens know, the residents know that, you can't put an engine block in that can. It's not going to be recyclable. And usually almost 100% of the time they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And so I think that with your question, what we need to do is just really, the end product obviously is a profitable product. Sending it to China was an easy way and a profitable way to get rid of our plastics and our, all of our waste. And so now I think we can incentivize that and hopefully clean up that process so we get a more profitable and feel good end product.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because it looks like we've got some interesting, maybe that's part of what's going on in the room over there, so you can get a little hint. But I'm going to close this session here. Thank you to all of the panelists. These are amazing colleagues that I get to work with, and again, the sustainability landscape is vast. There's something for everybody, and we'd love to encourage you and your cities to identify ways that your city can engage, even in a small way. So round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. And the next sessions will start at 11 o'clock-ish. The session in here is the Utah Sustainable Business Coalition, so what's next for the business case. And then in room 405 is doing sustainability at UVU. So again, at the back we have a QR code that will take you to the program and the speakers. Sorry, it got a little wonky on the mobile view, and I apologize for that, but the information's all there. Anyway, thank you.